back. My next guest hosts the Late Late Show with Tom Snyder each weeknight opposite this show on CBS. Please welcome one of the great broadcasters, Mr. Tom Snyder. My goodness. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
My great pleasure. Thank you for having me back to 30 Rock. It's always a joy to be here.
Did you, when you were doing the Tomorrow Show, were you in this studio
ever?
In this
very studio. They used to call this the Snyder Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They still do.
Well, it starts with an S, but yeah.
Ouch. You moved all around the place. You were in a lot of different studios.
We were all over this building, yeah. You name a studio, we did the show in that studio. Because NBC at that time, this entire building was under construction. They renovated 6A, they renovated all the other studios, and so shows would move around a little bit.
People forget how historic this area is. Jack Parr and Johnny Carson were both across the hall.
Across the hall, sure.
Of course, David Letterman was here for 11 years in this studio. I think Carson was here for a week. It's pretty fascinating stuff. I just love that.
It's a great building. I used to love working in this building. It's a great part of New York. It's a great location. And as you say, there's a lot of history here. It was always fun to come here, and it was a joy to come here this afternoon.
Well, do you like being back in New York City? Because you're in New York taping your shows this week.
You know, we got to the airport the other night, and I mean, New York is different from any other city in America. I mean, where else could you land in an airport and wait for your luggage, and at most places you'd hear, no parking in the white courtesy zone. Right here on the PA, there's a lady saying, will the person who lost his or her hearing aid please call on the white courtesy phone? Well, only in New York if you've lost your hearing aid. I mean, and then, you know, coming in, the driver said, he said, you're going to see a lot of things different in New York from how it was when you were here the last time. I said, like what? He said, well, he said, if you'll notice, they have pedestrian barricades now. Have you noticed these as you walk around town? Pedestrians have to go this way so as to allow cars to make a right-hand turn and make traffic move. You see, I always thought what blocked traffic in New York was not pedestrians, but double-parked trucks and construction and stuff like that. I never knew it was pedestrians that were blocking all this traffic in New York.
Well, what's amazing is they have all these big fences now, and I just routinely see people just jumping the fence. That's all they're... Or in some parts, they're sawing through it within a second.
That's another great thing about New York. I mean, people make decisions very quickly here based upon the need to get something done.
Right.
In Los Angeles, for example, if we have a bomb scare from the police department, they will close 12 or 14 streets all around the location, you know, in case of a bomb scare, trying to find the explosive device. Here in New York, they wait until the bomb goes off. Then they know exactly what street to close.
We now know.
It's very efficient.
It's that rubble area over there. This is unusual. You host a show opposite this show.
Right.
And so I thought it might be a little unusual, since you're on this show, to check in and see how your show...
switch over to CBS.
Let's switch over to CBS right now so that you at home don't have to do that. Oh, there you are.
There we are, talking with Mayor Giuliani right now.
Oh, this is with Mayor Giuliani.
Yeah.
Well, that looks like it's going well.
It is.
Oh, there's Giuliani there.
There he is right now, yeah.
Okay, all right.
You know, he's talking about those pedestrians again. I said, you know what? I said, why do you have all those, turn him down a little bit.
Let's just come back this way. That's okay.
I mean, if you want him, go over to CBS. He's on there right now.
Stay here and never, ever go back.
He was talking about the pedestrians, and I said, you know, what's the purpose of that? He said, well, you know, and then he gave the pitch, you know, murder, I guess, is down in New York.
That's what they hide behind.
And crime.
Murder is down. We like murder, you know? Give us back our murder.
He said, but, you know, we've had too many traffic fatalities. I says, great, if nobody ever crosses the street, nobody will ever get killed. It's marvelous. Yeah.
Right, it's a good system.
The other thing that's different is in Los Angeles, you'll be behind a person in the checkout line at a drugstore or a grocery store. I'm sure you've been there, right? And he or she will buy a tube of toothpaste and pay for it by check. And while they're putting the check through, he or she will balance the checkbook. Whereas in New York, we would put that person inside the tube of toothpaste.
There's a lot of rage here, Tom.
Well, I mean, get it done, get it done, get it done.
You, fascinating to me, you take phone calls on your show. There are differences between the kind of show that you're doing and the kind of show that we're attempting.
Right.
Ours is a lot noisier and filled with foolishness.
We do our share of foolishness.
Yes,
too.
you actually lock eyes and talk to people, which is crazy. But something you do on your program which works great for you, I would be afraid to do it, I think, is to take calls.
No,
you have one of those shows where you take calls.
You see, calls are like picking up hitchhikers on the road. You know what I mean? And every now and again...
Which means
I knew I'd strike a nerve.
Scary at all.
You should immediately do that.
Like early on, we had a guy that would call up, and you can almost recognize a voice that's going to cause trouble, okay?
Right, right.
And for example, if we were doing a show on the environment, okay? And we're going along, and this guy will come up, he say, you know, Tom, he said, I agree with you 100% on the environment, and I'm very, very concerned about the ozone layer, and is it true that Milton Berle has the largest penis in all of show business? Well, that will bring
It
a
is
show.
true, by the way.
Well, I've heard that, yeah. And that will bring a show right to a stop. Yeah, that will bring it to a halt. Then on radio years and years ago, I used to do an hour of phone calls at midnight, where we only took calls from the listeners. And like they love to play games with you. And one night, a caller called, we're talking about something, and I hear like water running in the background. I said, excuse me, I said, what's that in the background? He says, I'm taking a leak and I'm flushing it down, okay?
Well, he's talking to you.
But now, you see, when one guy hears that, now every guy for the whole hour is taking a whiz and flushing the John. I mean, you can't turn it off. So, I mean, you call this zany. I mean, you know, Milton Berle's and taking a leak with the flush.
Yeah. Well, now you go, thanks.
Serious television for those who care, yeah.
You were fired off radio. Not to, we've all been fired from different jobs.
Yes.
And you were fired in the early days. I was curious,
Hey,
what did you do?
You weren't here the day we did the last Tomorrow Show in this very room, when they brought the cannon up alongside the building here. You know, the one at the circus where they shoot the guy out?
Right,
oh,
right.
They loaded me in there and shot me to Canarsie that afternoon.
Hey, chill out, man. It's all good now. You have a show?
I like
Everything's fine now.
Oh, listen, the view from up there is spectacular. I could see Andy's house from up there. Andy, how you doing?
I'm going to put that network executive back in a tube of toothpaste.
Yeah, I got canned from radio in Michigan. I was working out there for a radio station that was owned by the same man that owned the Howard Johnson's restaurant behind the radio station. And I did a little record show in the afternoon, you know, where you spin the top 40. You know, mounds of sound, stacks of wax, all designed with you in mind, that sort of thing.
I dig.
Yeah, okay. And then I would go for dinner and then come back afterwards and play the top LPs. And in the middle of this whole thing, I belched on the air, you know, like that, see?
You could have just told me. You didn't have to reenact it.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Don't reenact anything else, okay?
So anyway, they called me in the next day, the manager, and he fired me for belching on the air. Because I said, by the way, I'm sorry I belched, but I must have gotten a bad clam roll at Howard Johnson's, you see.
Which he owns.
Which he owned, right. So now, this is about 1960. In 1976, I'm going through the paper one afternoon, and I see from Michigan, Kalamazoo, that they've closed the Howard Johnson's restaurant for health code violations and food impurity. I said, you know, I was 16 years ahead of my time. I knew then what they're printing now. You know?
I was right about this.
But the guy who fired me, you know, when I told the story on the air, he
Are you going to get mad again?
No, no.
Okay.
I don't get mad, Conan. I just...
You're talking about that guy that fired me. Oh, my God, he's got a gun.
He said, you know, he says, you should be grateful I fired you. He said, if I hadn't, you'd be doing farm reports now on WKZO in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And he's right.
Getting fired was the best thing that ever happened to you.
Best thing that ever happened to me, yeah.
All right. You know what? One last thing before we go. It's sort of your trademark. It certainly was on the Tomorrow Show. And it's incorporated into the Late Late Show. Extreme close-ups. You like it when the camera gets in really tight.
Yeah. Well, I did then. I don't know about now.
I just want to see. Liz, can you push in? I just want to see.
Yeah. Come on in a little closer. Come on.
Oh, my God.
Okay, that's enough. Yeah,
I want one, too. Liz, can I have one?
No, come on. A little tighter.
I'm a trapped animal. We should have done this whole interview tonight. Just, Tom, how are you? How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much.
You're sure? You're feeling good?
I feel great, Conan. Thank you very much.
Fine? Oh, good. Well, I'm glad.
Oh, glad to hear it. Okay.
That's the way we shoot this show from now on. The Late Late Show with Tom Snyder on CBS at 12:35 a.m. It's taping in New York, and I'm coming by tomorrow.
You're coming by tomorrow. We've already taped it, and tomorrow night on CBS. Please join me with Conan, because tomorrow night this guy kills on Channel 2.
Yes.
Absolutely kills.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend.
Hey, good to have you.
And by the way,
Snyder.
thank you, Andy. Good to see you, my friend. Okay.
Tom Snyder, ladies and gentlemen. Fastball is coming up. We'll stick around. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to watch tomorrow night's show. I know Tom Snyder said watch his show, but he's gone now. And don't watch it.
Well, you could just,
not his show.
you could just be real crappy on
Yeah.
this show.
That's a good point. I'm going to show up drunk on his show. No, because people tune in to
they're
watch
not
that.
tuned in.
Oh, party. I love you. Just watch this show, baby. We got it going on. Coming up tomorrow night, actor and comedian Richard Lewis, always funny, never failed us. We have from the TNT movie The Day Lincoln Was Shot, a very good actor, Rob Morrow. You all remember Rob Morrow, of course. And magician J.B. Ben is going to do some stuff that'll blow your collective mind. We'll take a break right now. When we come back, Fastball is going to perform. You got to see Fastball.